Hello, it's a foggy old Wednesday the 25th. I'm FxPlew and this is the market brief. Now Reeves has been on. She wants her spring statement to be a relatively low-key event on the 3rd of March. There'll be no big tax or spending announcements, and she's not even planning for the usual prime time slot just after Prime Minister questions. We might be in for the MVP of a spring statement, covering little more than the mandatory response to the OBR economic and fiscal forecasts. That would certainly be a change from last year, wouldn't it? Bailey's been on. He thinks the UK may be ahead of several other economies. The Bank of England is seeing signs of a productivity revival, and they think some firms are starting to lay off the excess labour they've been clinging on to since the pandemic. While this will likely push up unemployment a bit further, it could also help the economy in other ways, according to Bailey. The output per hour worked metric, that could get a proper little lift from this, that's for sure. Over in the US, Trump's been on and on, in fact. Dear old Donald delivered the longest State of the Union address in 60 years, droning on for an hour and 40 minutes. The State of the Union allows the President to reset the national agenda, and this one comes at a time where polls suggest most Americans think the country is worse off than it was a year ago. So it was no surprise when dear old Donald wanted to sell the idea of economic success with all the golden age rhetoric. However, often is the case with Trump, reality paints a different picture. 2025 growth was 2.2%, the slowest since the post-COVID rebound. Inflation is stuck at 3%, making little progress towards a 2% target. The labour market data was revised down, presenting a monthly average of 15,000 new jobs a month for 2025, and that is hardly economic rocket fuel, is it? And all this puts Warsh in a rather sticky wicket when he takes over from Powell. Trump wants him to crack on with rate cuts, but where inflation is looking sticky, it will make that a pretty tough sell. Don't forget, despite Trump's best efforts, there are still some independent hawks on the Fed, unaffected by Trump so far, and long may that continue. In the market, the dollar index is knocking into resistance around the 98 mark, and we kick off this morning a little higher against the dollar. We're around 135.25. We're fairly flat against the euro, around 114.50, and euro dollar is higher, up around 118.05 on the open this morning. That's it from me. Have a great day.
If you do not have a clue, then just tweet through and ask FxPlew.